Good evening and welcome once again to the Glenwood Football Show featuring Coach Jason Gibson. And we've got a lot to talk about today, and we want to be sure and get everything in, Coach, that I can possibly squeeze in our time today, because we've got a big win, but we want to kind of set the table for that. And also let you know that tonight, after this show, we will be showing the broadcast of the Glenwood game with Springwood on the road in Lynette. And Friday, we will also have a repeat of the show, plus the live broadcast of the season finale with Abbeville Christian Academy. Well, Coach, the night before that you play Springwood, Lee Scott has a key game against Tuscaloosa and loses 24-10. What did that do for your team?
I don't know if the players really realized it, but I knew that set us up to where if we win the game, we got a home field playoff game or a home playoff game. So that was big. I wouldn't have minded if either team had won, but obviously having a home playoff game is huge.
Right. So that was the key in getting that home playoff game. You still have to perform.
Correct.
But Tuscaloosa winning against Lee Scott did set up that scenario. So you go to Lynette, and it's on the road. It's a region game. Mm-hmm. Another television station, which we won't mention, happened to make that the game of the week as well.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for the publicity. Thank you for the attention to both schools. But I don't know how that was really the game of the week.
Well, that's okay. Anyway, you're on the road and you come up with a big win, and yeah. I know you had to be pleased. What did that do? That win? I
mean, it was huge because we've been on this show. We've had some ups and downs, and we've had some struggles, and at times throughout this year, this quick year, I can't believe it's already November, that it felt like this thing's just not going to come together. And then now we're on a 3-game win streak, with some good wins and some good defensive play. And we're right back to where we were last year. I mean, almost identical situation, number 2 seed, playoff game at home, win it, get a chance to go back to Monroe, and it all comes full circle.
Okay, so you're now 6-4, and you're getting ready. You win 42-7, and I think the first possession set the table for you.
Didn't see that coming, but that was a 68-yard touchdown run.
Right.
I mean, Colleen Bonds just he turned the corner, ran counter left, and he bait a guy miss. And oh, okay, we're going to get 10. Oh, we're going to get 20. Oh, wow, he might go all the way, and he's in the end zone. And I'm like, wow, that was quick. So it worked out for us, and I'm happy for Colleen. It was great blocking by the receivers.
Okay, so he gets a touchdown, and then John Burnett gets into the scoring by getting a touchdown to make it 14-0, and some of that was set up. I think Burnett made a reception on that.
Made a huge catch. John does a lot of things for us. John catches, John blocks, John runs the ball. He can punt return, he can kickoff return. He's so versatile. And he does a lot of stuff. He's got probably some of the best hands on the team for a big guy. And, he set that drive up, and I was glad to see him punch it in.
Okay, so you're up 14-0, and then Springwood brings in their very talented freshman, and he breaks off a 53-yard run to close the gap to 43-7.
Yeah, he did. He called us, and I was kind of shocked, and we went in a little bit of a funk there for a little bit in the second quarter. And but he turned the corner, and I'm surprised he outran us, to be honest with you. It was a good run by him. It was a great run by him. And that was good for that school because at the time, I mean, they win, they're in, we win, we're in. And it was a good run.
And you're going to see him for 3 more years. Mr. Tolbert is a freshman for Springwood, so it certainly will be a key to their future plans. But getting back to the game, 14-7, then I believe I've got this right. Christian, was it Christian?
It was Cameron.
It was Cameron that stripped the ball. Harris.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. You're right.
Wait, it's Christian?
Well, first we ran a jet sweep to Cameron O'Neill for about 60 yards. I mean, he just got the corner and sprinted, made it 21-7.
Okay.
That was a great run by Cam. And, I mean, Springwood was so big up front. Their linemen were huge. But they really couldn't run side to side. So we just kept trying to get the edge, and we were getting it. So, but then we stalled there for a little bit. I think we had a fumble by Bryce. Bryce fumbled the ball. We were driving deep in the end zone. Then we had to punt, and it was 21-7. And then they had the ball back with a couple seconds left in the half. And then that's when
was it Clausell that?
It was Clausell.
And then Navy Harris picked it up and went nearly 60 yards.
I've never seen that. I mean, there was no time on the clock. Into the half, he's getting the ball back. So I thought he was just going to kneel on the ball, which would have been smart because he's getting the ball back. So he kneels when he goes into halftime, comes out and scores. It's 21-14. But they throw a pass, and Christian does the same thing we talk about on Turnover Thursday. Another job. We did it. We forced the fumble. Navy picks it up and runs it for a touchdown.
So now you're 28-7 at the half, and looking good.
Yeah, that was a backbreaker. That took the win out. That to me sealed the game.
Okay, so nothing happens as far as scoring in the third quarter, but you do set up a nice drive in that quarter, and Bonds finishes that drive off with a touchdown run.
Right.
Was that where Nigel Bell intercepted the ball to set up that, or did he do that later?
I can't remember. It was a great pick by Niger. So he picked off the pass, but I think we faltered again on the drive. And then we had that long drive that transferred over into the fourth quarter. And JB did a lot on that drive. Again, blocking, running the ball, just anything we asked him to do. It was a big third down trap play. He ran for a first down. And I think it put us up 35-7.
It did. And then to cap off the scoring, Lawrence Vincent, who's kind of like your little ace in the hole there, he and Burnett eat up most of the fourth quarter, and Vincent scores a touchdown.
Well, the fourth quarter, we were still struggling throwing the ball. And I just got frustrated. So, that's it. We're going to run ball every play. And I just rotated them. Lawrence ran one, JB ran one, Kaleem ran one. Lawrence ran one. I mean, just rotating them in and out. And they took the ball all the way down the field, and Lawrence popped it in.
Well, now let's talk about that defense, and we've already discussed it. Two big turnovers to help again that you caused. One is for a score. Overall scoring for the entire Class AAA, you're only behind undefeated and one of the top-ranked AAA team, Monroe, by 9 points on your defense. So
yeah, when you look at it, one of the things that stand out to me is last year I think we gave up 35 points 5 times last year. I mean, that's bad. We still finished 7-3, which is how I thought had the attribute to how good we were. But then this year we've only given up over 30 points once the entire season. That's one time, and just a huge dramatic change. And that's how you win championships. I think the team last year was so explosive on offense. And you look at what we have this year, and we're just as explosive. But defensively, wow. I mean, they're just really putting the clamps down. We tackle well. We're starting to get turnovers. And I attribute that to the process of the constant repetition of the message in practice, of getting turnovers, tackling, being in the right position. And it just took 4 to 5 to 6 weeks for it to come together. And that's all. And now it's coming together. So.
Well, and I think that's one of the keys, too, to Glenwood's success in this 3-game winning streak is the play of that defense. And it's not, we've mentioned about scoring plays, but it's not just the scoring plays that have done it. You've got so many different players, and you've alluded to that in the past, I believe, that are contributing on that defense.
They're all stepping up. Justin Jackson, outside backer. Niger Bell steps up, gets a pick. Will Heiss, a junior linebacker, is in every play. Scotty Anderson, a sophomore linebacker. Again, Justin Jackson, a sophomore linebacker. Of course, when you got Kelsey Allen in Navy, Chad Dykes, Carson Risden, Preston Gillian's making a lot of plays. He's come a long way to not just a role player, but he's actually, Preston and Carson take up all the unwanted business in the middle of the field that nobody sees. Nobody sees that. But it's just and then the major change is we put number 6 at safety. And that changes everything. So O'Neal's back there playing safety now, and he can cover some ground, and he'll hit you. And, It's just upgrade your defense. We just have good athletes on defense, and they're listening to Coach McConnell. He puts them in a good position.
Right, and I think that is certainly one of the keys of being able to do that. In addition, on the offensive side of the ball, you outrushed Springwood 347 to 148. Bonds had his second straight 160-yard plus running game. So I believe you can talk about it, that running attack is making the offense run.
It's hard to believe I'm saying that as an arena coach, but yeah, I mean, we were running the ball well. You know, Kaleem's hard to bring down. It's a three-headed monster. I mean, probably one of the best athletes on the field is number 1, Navy Harris, and he doesn't even touch the ball. And, you know, how do you get it to him when you have Navy or Kaleem and those guys? So we're running it, and that's because of the talent of the receivers on the outside are taking the pressure off. And now that people are going to start putting a lot of people in the box, then we can go to the outside.
Well, that's certainly a good thing. And like you say, you got the edge all game against Springwood, and that certainly made a difference, and that has put you in the playoffs. But before those playoffs, let's talk about Friday night's game. Abbeville Christian.
Right. Scary. It's a 1A school. They were really good last year, and I watched film and thought, wow, you know, this is a 1A school. They go to the playoffs every year. They're in a state championship game. We went down there and we just got better players. And we've been pretty good. But the thing about the game is they're already in the playoffs. This game for them means nothing, so they could care less. You know, from a meaningful game. And we're kind of in the same boat, but I can guarantee you their head coach is not going to tell the kids that. You know, everybody plays to win. But then when you look at their team this year, they got a little quarterback in it. If he gets a space, he's gone. You know, and they're dangerous. They almost beat Pike, which we lost to. But then they turn around and get beat by 1A Cal, you know, Chambers 48-0. They get, you know, they almost got beat by Edgewood 21-27. Edgewood could have won that game. So I don't know which Abbeville Christian team's going to show up, you know.
Well, certainly they've had their ups and downs, and one of the guys you didn't mention is number 23, their running back, little James Johnson. In the films that I've seen, every time, in fact, he had the only touchdown that they scored against Chambers. He's
explosive.
Right.
One of the coaches, excuse me, one of the coaches did a stat on Abbeville Christian. They have thrown 26 passes over 40 yards this season, which is crazy. They've thrown the ball 56% of the time. So they like dropping back. What they do a good job of is they drop back and send everybody deep. And if you rush that quarterback and you miss him, he's gone because everybody's covering everybody deep. There's nowhere to tackle him. If you don't rush him like Edgewood did, Edgewood said, we're not going to rush him. We're going to make you throw, and we're going to wait for you, and if you try to run, we're going to get you. He sat back there, and he might have thrown 10 or 15 passes over 40 yards. So you got to try to pick your poison. But, you know, there's an old saying, a friend of mine, is pressure bust pipes. So I'm sure that's what we're going to try to do, put pressure and eliminate that. Because he is a threat, a legitimate threat.
He's obviously a good athlete. So that certainly makes a key as far as that. And also, I don't know, maybe you can tell me what's planned. It is senior night for your players.
You know, they're going to recognize the seniors, and the staff takes care of that, and the school takes care of that, and you know, recognize their last regular season home game. You know, thank God we have the playoff game at home, so I don't have to make a big deal about this being their last game. So I'm excited for. We got a lot of seniors. It'll be a fun night.
Well, certainly, and we hope that it'll be a fun night as far as the broadcast is concerned and the play. I think that one thing is for sure, and that we want to mention the last week when Abbeville Christian, the Generals is their nickname, played Chambers. Chambers did not throw a pass in the game.
What?
They did not throw a single pass. The entire game, Chambers ran the football. So that was certainly one thing that seemed to bother Abbeville Christian, is the fact that you could get outside. Now, Chambers has a quality halfback that is being looked at named C.J. Jones, I believe, number 1. And he had a kickoff return for a touchdown and another touchdown. And in the other game, he had 2 long runs as well. But Chambers did not they looked like Georgia Tech. You know, all the misdirection and then the fullback dive. And they had a lot of that, but they did not throw a pass in the game and still won 42-7. I think that bodes ill, unfortunately, for Abbeville Christian.
Yeah, I mean, we need to run the ball. But, you know, I'm looking at this game as we need to do what we need to do what makes us better to get us ready for the playoffs. If I have to throw it, I have to throw it. I'm not really concerned, you know, do I need to game plan to run this play, and this play. There's certain things that we have to work on to make us better for the playoffs, and that's what we're going to do. But if we can run the ball like that against Abbeville, I will gladly do it.
Well, I just thought that was an interesting thing because I picked up on that right away.
It's a great stat.
But certainly, and you have talked about it before, there are trap games like at the college level, Troy beating LSU and then coming home against South Alabama. And
well, you know, I talked to the players about that, and we didn't play our best game against Springwood. I mean, I think we did what we needed to do, and we had better players around all across the board, and we did what we needed to do to win the game. I don't think that we played with the passion and the fire of wow. They don't think they realized it was a playoff atmosphere. We lose, we're out of the playoffs. But it really never entered anybody's mind. I mean, there was a slight chance, and you know, I talked about Troy LSU and Troy South Alabama, and I actually showed an hour clip in the pregame at school of all of these great upsets: Appalachian State, Michigan, Georgia Southern, and Florida. So I showed all these games to remind them, you better show up. Yeah, maybe it worked.
well, we certainly hope so, and I know that Glenwood faithful are hoping for a big showing by all of the players on their final regular season contest. Now, we'll probably talk a lot more about this next week, but now the playoffs are set, and so the next week you're at home and your opponent is
Morgan. Which caught me off guard. I wasn't sure how the playoff system worked because there was a three-way tie on the other side as well with Pike, Morgan, and Fort Dale. Fort Dale won out on points, so they got the number 2 seed. What I didn't know is I thought it was points all the way around for all 3 seedings, 2, 3, and 4. The rule is if there's a three-way tie, it goes by your point differential between those 3 teams, and Fort Dale won it. After that, it goes head-to-head, and Morgan beat Pike. So Pike goes from a 7-2 season in the number 2 seed all the way to number 4, just like that.
in one game.
And they get Tuscaloosa.
And they are going to do that on the road, is that right?
Oh, yeah.
And the same thing with Lee Scott. They had the potential of being
Number 1. They lose and they're number 4. And they get to go see Monroe.
at Monroe.
Correct.
In Monroeville. So those last games, even though there was not an emphasis maybe that it is important as far as the playoffs are concerned and where you are seated, any team, I think, and you can talk about this, wants to play that game at home.
Yeah, you do. I mean, playing on the roads. The only thing good about playing on the road is if you lose, not many people see it. Okay? You know, you don't want to lose at home, because everybody sees it, and then you got to hear about it. I'm being funny. But, you know, being at home, being in your comfort, it's about being in your comfort zone. But sometimes when you play on the road, you can kind of get away from people with the distractions of all the stuff going on. But, hey, I'll take it. We've earned it. It's 2 years in a row. Hopefully we can win Friday night, and it's 2 seasons in a row. We put together 7 to 8 wins, and that's huge for the program, huge for you know, again, what our JVs done and how they finish strong. Of course, with the Pee Wee teams, they're going to honor the Pee Wees Friday night at halftime with their undefeated season, which is special. And you know, just having a home playoff game just speaks volume for our school.
Well, and I would like to put a plug in, too, about the Glenwood Pee Wee Gators. That's an undefeated season, and there will be I work for the Alabama Citizen, and I would like to mention that there will be a feature story on that Pee Wee team in the next Thursday Citizen. Awesome. They certainly made an improvement from 1 win and a tie the year before to going undefeated.
Yeah, they did. I mean, Jerry Crow and Derek Denny, I mean, those guys are a perfect mix for each other. You know, Jerry's kind of like the mad scientist on offense. We're quiet, and you know, and he knows how to reach kids. Derek's the ex-military, in your face, and it works perfect for those kids. And they had so much fun, and they were so well coached, and just a really good team. And I hope those kids maintain all the way through that school, because we're going to be having these conversations about how good Glenwood football is for a long time if you know, we can maintain that.
And I know that's what you said in their first year, that this was the atmosphere that you wanted at Glenwood, to be able to enjoy the game and also have that system of people moving in to go all the way to varsity.
Yeah, I mean, to be able to play in the same school system from 4th grade all the way through 12th grade, usually you play middle school ball or you play Parks and Rec football, and then you could play for your high school team. But if you can keep kids in the program from 3rd grade or 4th grade all the way through 12th, they have a passion for their school. They want to fight for the G on the helmet, not just a guy who transfers in that really could care less about the school. And I'm not saying that happens, but I'm just kind of put it in a generalization. So great job with Pee Wee programs, and they earned it.
Well, that's certainly a good thing. And I think that's one of the things that we wanted to discuss, is the fact that last year Glenwood won their first playoff game in a long time.
Right.
And now you're in a situation where, let's face it, there are some expectations.
Oh, thanks.
For Glenwood.
I was waiting for that. I was waiting for that to come.
Okay. The expectations of you being able to do something.
Well, you're right. And unfortunately, you know, if things don't work out in our favor next week, it's a season's a failure. I mean, there's nothing to hide about it. It is. And, you know, the goal of our team was to get back to Monroe and take one step past that. That was the goal. And if we don't get to that point, then, I mean, we scheduled Monroe for the beginning of the season for a reason. Because I needed to know where we were at, what we needed to do, so when we play them again, the outcome's different. And I really hope this works out in our favor, and I can sit here and say, I told you so, and I knew what we were doing. So we'll find out, and that's the plan.
Right. And again, we don't want to go ahead, because Abbeville Christian is certainly going to be ready. The Generals are going to be ready to play on Friday night. They want to go out in their season with a bang as well.
I want to win 7 games. I mean, it's a big deal to me. I mean, there's no way we're going to go out there and go, oh, if we lose a game, oh, it's okay, we'll play next week. So.
No, that's right. And again, we will be excited about the fact that Glenwood once again has a home game. And we will also be excited that CTV Beam will have the opportunity to show you that game live. So we think that it will be a wonderful time for Glenwood football. Coach, I want to thank you. Once again, I'm Ronald Frazier with the East Alabama Citizen, and we certainly hope that you will be able to read our weekly version of the column of the football game, and also be able to come and watch Glenwood football on Friday night, because I think there is one thing, if you can tell from this show, that there is some enthusiasm caused by this man, the coach, for Glenwood football, and we appreciate your viewing our show.